Welcome again to the second session of the second season of this platform updates. As usual, if you have questions, Q&A or the chat window, I will follow those up as well on my side. If you have things that you want to have discussed during the meeting, don't hesitate. We can do that. Obviously, I can deviate from the agenda. The agenda actually is, as usual, I went into the top questions we've got the last couple of weeks, and I built the presentation around those topics. Having said that, if you want to have for next sessions other topics to be joined, or say, I want to see that or that topic being addressed, please just send me an email and I will take care of that one. Okay. Okay, so all our vendors are on screen now. Notice IBM that's been added lately. So today is small word on the marketplace. Questions I got a lot on these days are on GDAP. So what it does, what it doesn't do, and why it's required. About license management, more from a rules per vendor perspective, with a focus on Microsoft, because we saw that there are a lot of things not really clear on that level, what's happening with licenses, and then the usual, so the Brainshark upcoming events. There's also an important topic on that side, and then Q&A in the end. Okay, so marketplace vendors, as you all know, already on the platform, Microsoft, Google, AWS as long-term top worldwide vendors, hyperscalers. Bititan, FPoint, and Acronis have been on the platform already for a couple of months. Recently added IBM. So if you have IBM cloud licenses, you can also transact them now via Stream1 Ion. Just ask for the program in the program section, and then so in the you want from your side partners, SYNNEX Belgium programs, find the program and ask, do the request. Upcoming Checkpoint, it has been delayed. There has been an issue with the APIs between Checkpoint and our environment. Proofpoint should come up early October. Most probably they will end up coming both on the same time on the platform. And I noticed that I forgot one thing on the slide, that is marketplace item from Microsoft. So Azure Marketplace items, some of them will also be available to be purchased using the Stream1 Ion platform. So that's an upcoming. I see now that I forgot it on the slide. I'll try to add it on later. GDAP. First of all, what is GDAP? GDAP is a way of giving other parties access to a tenant using the Microsoft Partner Center environment, meaning that to manage a customer's tenant, you don't need an account on that tenant. You can simply go into your Partner Center account and from there on hop on to your customer's tenant. That's basically how we do it as well at SYNNEX. So we have GDAP available in-house configured for most of our customers. Sometimes they expire, but most of our customers, we have a GDAP relation, so we can perform administrative actions on those tenants. So the policy of your customers, so allowing management of tenants out of Stream1 Ion, so you can out of from within Stream1 Ion perform certain tasks also to your customers. For instance, you can Azure a subscription, you can add a subscription management and set owners if there is a correct GDAP environment in place for SYNNEX. So if the GDAP is there, you can go to Stream1 Ion and say, I want to have a new, so manage the Azure plan, add a subscription, and add an owner to that subscription or change owners to current subscription. So you can do this straight out of Stream1 Ion. User management of your customers, you can go to Ion, go to your customer, go to users, and then you can add, or go to subscription, you can add users to the tenant and also assign licenses to that user. So those things are capable of being done within Stream1 Ion if there is GDAP in place. Other thing, the SecOps tool that has been implemented, allowing you to have security reports over all your customers, but also do some specific tasks for your customers. Yeah, I took the Brainshark videos or trainings on that topic, where you can write rather easy over more customers in one shot, put a security baseline in place without needing to go to every tenant one by one. Just go to Stream on Iron, go to the SecOps module, and then you can do this straight from within there. How do you set them? Well, you start from the hamburger. That's how we call the 3 lines on the right top of the Stream on Iron screen. There you have a SecOps tool, which is different from the SecOps tool that is available for management, because that one is straight in your menu, top line menu of your Stream on Iron. So this is the SecOps completely for GDAP only. So you have your customers. You see here I have multiple customers. I have someone that don't use customers, and you see they have DAP, which is the old way of doing management of the customers, which is not active anymore. So Microsoft stopped all delegated admin privileges. So general DAP, which allowed us to do basically everything on a tenant, replaced by GDAP, granular the delegated admin privileges, to allow a customer to say, I only want to have this or this or this right for my service provider to access my tenant using the partner center environment. You have always a date, an expiration date of a GDAP. You can have a GDAP being auto-extended. So that is the maximum length of a GDAP request is 730 days, so 2 years. But you can put a parameter on to have it extended every 6 months. So for every 6 months. So after 2 years, that it is extended for 6 months each time. One point there, no global admin right in the GDAP, otherwise you cannot do the auto-extend. So you can select on a customer. Okay, so I selected STB7, so I have all the GDAPs that are live for that customer. The duration, it's all 730 days, except for the third one, which is 50 days. The last one is 3 days, because you need to have a specific environment. Your customer don't want to have a global GDAP, but you need to do some administration. You send them a link for 3 days. They accept it, you do your work, and automatically after 3 days, you don't have access anymore to the tenant of your customer. So that way you can really help support your customers without having the need to fully all the time have access to their tenant. You can also use PIM, but that's another discussion. I'm not going to go deep in that today. If you open a GDAP, let me go one step back. That's what I missed here. So if you click on the left small point, you open a GDAP settings where you can see the full name of the relationship, which is always unique by the way, the status, last modified and activation date, and then the roles that are applied to that GDAP relation. You can resend the invitation to the primary address of the customer, or it might be easier to copy the link and send it an email coming from your mailbox saying, look, please, Mr. or Mr. Customer, can you accept this link because we need to do some administrative actions on your tenant. If you have global admin rights yourself on a tenant, obviously you can do it yourself to accept that link. If it's expired, obviously there is no use in resending a link. If it's expired, you can, by using the manage menu, you can go in and create a new GDAP request where you can specify the rights. So this is set up by SYNNEX, where we have defined this set of roles that we mostly need to have access to the tenant. We don't need more, but we think this is a minimum to be able to support you, to support your customers. Limited access gives us some right, but really is only a read-only administrator. We don't need a GDAP to be able to deliver licenses. So if there's no GDAP in place, we can still deliver licenses to the customer. For that, GDAP is not required. So we always promote the recommended access, because that way we can support you to support your customers. You have the email, which means sent to the default user of the customer. If there is a mailbox associated with that, yes or no, the mail goes out. The from, you can change that to your own email address. So it says it's not coming from SYNNEX or whatever. It is coming from your email address, and then you have the email preview that's sent to your customer. Basically, it's an email template, but you can change in the email templates in the hamburger menu as well. And you say submitted, mail goes out. Okay. Submit, and you can copy the URL for the GDAP and manually send it to your customer, to the correct person or persons within the customer's environment to accept this GDAP environment or GDAP link, and that gives you right to your customer's tenant. Questions, remarks? Question is it in SecOps part in reports? I have missed where it is. No, so if I go back in it, so that there are two SecOps environments. So you have one in the hamburger menu. Let me show you how it looks like actually in Stream1 Ion. So this is Stream1 Ion. You have in the reports, you have the SecOps environment, which gives you the possibility to manage, to manage the security posture of your customers from within Stream1 Ion. Again, if GDAP is in place. So this is one place. This is security, fully security related. The other one is, I'm not going to wait for that, is in here in the hamburger menu, where you have the SecOps section here, which brings you to the GDAP related environment. Very good question. Here it is. Let me go back, see the other one is loaded. SecOps. Still waiting. Let's see if someone else is stopping. Okay. Keep this monitored. If it pops up, I can come back to this screen. Okay. So let's go rapidly again through this. Did I mentioned everything? Yes, 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 and yes. Okay. Management of licenses. Because we see a lot of confusion happening on that environment. Some things are very clear and they are used on a daily basis without any question, any remarks, but some things are really confusing in the mind of your colleagues, as we noticed. So managing the seats of a customer. This is not about managing Stream1, not managing Azure subscriptions or Azure RIs. This is really managing the seats-based licenses of your customers. So we always have four ways to do scaling: in, out, up, and down. So out, that's easiest. Add more seats, always available. To manage subscription, you add seats. So you make a country of 10 licenses and make it 15 or 200 or whatever you want to have. Either directly in managed subscription or either at managed renewal, where you can say at renewal time, I want to have this number of licenses to add. Scale in, so lowering number of seats. As we all know, in Microsoft, you have 168 hours to cancel or to lower seats after a purchase or after renewal. So also if you do, for instance, you have 10 seats, now 15th of December, you add 5 seats. then you have to the 22nd of December to lower again from those 5 seats. Yes. So for every purchase, for every add-on you have, you always have the 168 hours to undo or to modify that change downwards. So modify the description on 168 hours, or at renewal, what it's easy to say, lower the seats. If you don't want them anymore, put renewal off at when you're in the manage renewal settings. So then obviously you end with no licenses at all. Scaling up, we do an upgrade subscription. For you have business standard, you want to go to business premium, quite easy. You go to Stream on Ion, manage renewal, and you say, I want to upgrade this license to business premium. Or or at manage renewal, where you can also say, I want to have this license upgraded to another license, but there is the caveat of only the actual is remaining. I'll come back to that later, what I mean. Downgrades, not possible. So there is no way of Microsoft that allows you to do a downgrade. So if you do a business standard to a business premium, I mean, in 10 minutes later, or 7 days later, or a month later, whatever, you say, I made a mistake here, there is no way back. Yes. This is very important. The only thing we can do is to try to open a ticket to Microsoft to undo the upgrade. But that's always discretion of Microsoft. They can say yes, they can say no. So the 168 hours really, Microsoft, they are usually, they want to do it, but if beyond the 168 hours, it's very difficult to roll back an upgrade. And that's where the most issues are today, where we see an upgrade has been done, the wrong update. We see it only obviously after the invoice. Then the customers come back and say, hey, but I didn't want to have that number. But then obviously we're out of the 7 days window, and then we get the issue that Microsoft doesn't want to do a downgrade anymore. We can always try, we're always willing to open a ticket, but normally there is no way to do a downgrade. If you want to do a downgrade and you're close to the renewal moment, don't renew the current licenses, or renew it with a lower number, and then purchase the new licenses, the lower license at that moment, which is always obviously possible. But again, there is no way to do downgrades in the interfaces, neither at the Microsoft interface itself. Okay. Manage renewals, that's also got a lot of questions these days. So you can put auto renew off or on. Simply license will expire and then goes into a grace period, which is 7 days on a monthly term and 30 days on a yearly or a 3-yearly term. After that, the license will be removed from the tenant. So meaning in the grace period, you can still use the license. One day it will go away and you don't know for which user. Microsoft releases pick 1 or 2 or 3 who will not be able to work anymore as of that date. And so 7 days in a monthly term, 30 days in a yearly or 3-year lead term. Basically, the grace period is just to allow, if you forgot to do a renewal, that you can still do one without the end users being punished for it. You can do the number of licenses. You can say, I want to have more or less of a specific subscription. You can change the term, the billing frequency. Today, one point there is for the E3, E5 with Teams. It's not possible to do a change of term, because a change of term is actually a new subscription that's being created by Microsoft. As you cannot buy the E3, E5s with Teams, it is not possible to do a term change on the current E3, E5s with Teams included. Not officially announced in Partner Center yet, but we have seen some announcement of Microsoft that E3, E5 with Teams will become available again as of November. If it's not there, don't quote me on that, but that's some notifications we saw from Microsoft with different price settings and stuff like that. but more will be clear normally somewhere by half October. If you do a renewal, you can also specify co-termination. That's also an important point. Co-termination with existing subscriptions, but always shortening the term. You cannot make a term longer if you do co-termination. For instance, you could say, I'm going to align my yearly subscription with a 2-yearly subscription that ends in 15 months. It will not be possible. So you can only shorten the termination of your licenses. So co-termination either with another product, either with the last day of the month, which in some cases makes it easier to invoice to your customers. You can change your SKU. You can say, I want to have business standard, I want to have business premium instead. You can do it with the renewal settings as well. Again, scale down, not possible, so you can not renew and purchase the lower SKU. Also very important, if you program a change in the renewal management, and afterwards you make a change to the subscription. For instance, you want to say, I want to have this subscription renewed from a monthly to a yearly monthly subscription. I want to have a date alignment with that subscription. Fine. If between that moment and the actual renewal date, you say, I don't want to have 7 licenses, but 9, the programming of your change will be gone. Microsoft removes, at that moment, removes the scheduled changes. It's a very important point. We have had some cases where this was forgotten. Person A has put in the renewal settings, person B did a change in the number of licenses, and then after renewal, obviously we had the wrong numbers or the wrong system in the environment at Microsoft. So be careful if you make a change and there is a renewal schedule that the change or the renewal settings will be overwritten by Microsoft. If you do an upgrade, you get a list of possible upgrades. That's clear. You can upgrade to a new subscription. So then you have multiple subscription. You might end with multiple subscription of the same product. For instance, have 3 subscription of business premium, which is not an issue per se, because to assign licenses, they're in one pool. So and as long as the pool has enough licenses, everyone will be serviced. And you will use an original term. Always, if you do a new subscription, you cannot start a new subscription with an upgrade as of today. Why? Very simple. Because if tomorrow we're almost the 1st of October, imagine there will be a price increase. You could say, I do an upgrade today to the new product on today's price, and I live for a year on today's price. Now, obviously, Microsoft is smart enough to avoid that kind of scenarios. So they say, no, if you do an upgrade, you will maintain or you keep the current terms as it is running. You can upgrade to an existing subscription. Again, not possible to do an undo. The original term is taken in account in the sense that you can only upgrade to an existing subscription if the end dates are the same. So you have a business standard today ending on October the 15th. You have the business premium ending October the 17th. You cannot upgrade the business standard to the business premium and say, I want to align the dates. The dates. Not possible. It's only possible when the end dates are the same of both subscriptions. And then, nice to know, if you upgrade all licenses, there's no auto assignment. If you do, or on the other hand, this is when you have when you have 2 packets of business standard, one in a month and one in a yearly month, and you upgrade one of those. Obviously, Microsoft does not know which license to be upgraded, and they need to do it manually anyway. So all licenses, and I should make it more clear on the slide, all licenses, if only one subscription of that type of license is active on the tenant. In all other cases, you need to reassign manually all licenses to the users. So what I mean with having the same date, as you see here, I have an exchange online plan 1 ending 25th of June. I have a P2 on the 10th of May that it ends, business standard 25th. So I can upgrade and align dates like that. So upgrade in the same subscription, but I cannot do an upgrade and align with the other subscription simply because the end date is not the same. And P2, even before the end date, so it will be 2026, but okay, the principle is there, only to the same subscription if they have the same end date. Okay, the results of doing an upgrade. So imagine that we have 15 extension lines P1s, and I want to upgrade 9 to business premium. What will happen if I do an immediate upgrade? I will have 9 business premiums and 6 extension lines P1. At renewal, I will have 9 business premiums, point. Yeah. So there's an important change that we also had some issues with the last couple of weeks. If you do an upgrade at renewal of a partial subscription, so partially of subscription, only the upgraded licenses are kept. The older ones are removed. Now, Microsoft says you do basically 2 things. You change the number of licenses and you do an upgrade at the same time. So you end up only with the 9 business premiums in this example. So be aware of that when you do an upgrade at renewal. Invoicing, immediately you get a prorated invoicing till the end of the billing term and then the end of the license term. Obviously, at renewal, you get the full invoicing unless you do a upgrade in alignment to an existing subscription, then you might have different prorated invoicing, but the default is the full invoicing. Has this been a bit more clear now? I know the rules are not always that easy at Microsoft, but that's the way it is. Also topic cancellation policies, and that's all vendors make it very easy. They all have their own rules. So Microsoft, we all know that 168 days after purchase or renewal, you can cancel a subscription. Cancel, remember, when you do not renew, you get a grace period, 7 days or 30 days. The license is canceled, it's immediate. There is no grace period when you do a cancel. You cannot say, oh, customer needs a license for a month, so I purchase a license and the next day I cancel it, and then they can have a grace period of 30 days. It won't work. Cancel is always immediately stopping the license, stopping the billing in that sense. Azure consumption, you can stop at any time. Just be careful if you start stopping subscriptions of Azure. Mostly it's not reversible, meaning that if you don't have all data and you stop the subscription and you remove the subscription, and then 2 days later, your customer says, yeah, but I want to have those files. Well, you have a problem. It's also why there is a 7 days think period before moving and things like that. But remember, if you start canceling subscriptions in Azure, be aware that this is irreversible. All data will be removed from the system. RIs, you can stop them at any time, or you can swap them. So it's not delete, it's return. They call it, that's basically deleting, or swap it with a new RI. Just be aware that the swap needs to be always to a higher subscription or a higher RI. Yeah. Today, as we can still cancel RIs, if you want to go to a lower, you cancel one, we buy a new one with a lower subscription or a lower type of RIs. That will be not possible in a couple of months anymore. Normally, in Microsoft, they will see the whole and then they will make a change to that. So swapping is always to a higher model of RI. AWS consumption, you can stop at any time. The same rules as at Microsoft in the sense that be careful because you might remove all data from that subscription. AWS RIs, full term. So if you buy it now, you want to have a term, you need to do the full term. And this is basically where Microsoft will also go to once. I don't have a date for that, but they will go to that as well once. Google Seat-based, GWS and Chrome Enterprise. It's flexible. In a flexible plan, you can do it anytime. You can just say stop, and the invoicing will stop it. If you have a commitment plan, you must fulfill it. So if your committed plan where the price is a bit lower for the year, you must do the year out. So same rules as Microsoft NCE. So be careful if you do a spread payment, as in Microsoft, and your customer stops business, you will be invoiced till the end of the term. It will be the same at Google. Okay, they might do something, Microsoft also might do something, but experience learns that they don't often goes into that path. So we always advise to not do spread payments to your customers. Yeah. Do a year, so one-time payment, do a month, a one-time payment. If you would sell a triennial, do a triennial payment, just to minimize your own risks. Microsoft will continue invoicing. We will continue invoicing to you as well. You will be stuck with an invoice. Okay, then I see, yeah, but I have this big customer who absolutely want to pay monthly. Okay, we can offer you, or from within TD SYNNEX, we can offer you leasing. Where, so one, for Microsoft, there is a 5% price increase because you do a monthly payment. Yeah, so the leasing is cheaper than that. So you buy yearly subscriptions, put it into a leasing, and the customer will pay less than 5% more, and they can do monthly payments to the leasing company, not to you, because you got paid by the leasing company. So you have your money, you are secured. If your customer goes out of business, not your problem anymore. So think about that. It's bigger customers, there will be no license or no leasing for two Exchange Online. No? That's not possible. But if you have a bigger customer, you can always bring in contact with the leasing department to have spread payments and take the risk away from your own portfolio. Google consumption, GCP, you can stop it any time. Again, be careful for deleting data. AvePoint, 72 hours after purchase. 72 hours. So if you buy it on a Friday, Tuesday will be too late because the 3 days are over. Within the same month. So within the same month, meaning that if you buy today, yeah, then 29th, after tomorrow, you cannot cancel anymore the AvePoint because then we're in a new month. So it's 27 hours within the same month. By the way, AvePoint, why they do that? Because they start invoicing as of the first of the next month after purchase. That's basically why they do it that way. If you don't want to have a renewal on AvePoint, you need to cancel it 2 months before the renewal. So you have to leave the term. If you don't want a new term within the 2 last months of the subscription, you can cancel it. It will continue working, but it will not be renewed. That's how AvePoint does it. BitTitan is 48 hours after purchase. So buy it a Friday at 5 o'clock. Coming Monday to the office, you're too late. Acronis full term needs to be respected, strict policy. So if you buy it for a year, you have to leave for the year. I listed this because we get a lot of issues these days with bankruptcy of customers, and the vendors don't want to consider payment or stopping invoicing or stuff like that. It's a very, very painful experience you have if your customer goes away and you have get each month an invoice because they're on a yearly term with a monthly payment. Transfers. Yes, you can do transfers. So you go have a new lead who already has Microsoft 365 licenses, and he says, yeah, but I want to do you because you're a much better party to service my license. Yes, they can be transferred. What can be transferred? NCE licenses. So no legacy. There are some small legacies still alive in the community. just because they might forgot to change them to NCE, or they have a longer lifetime. And there are two types of licenses for academic that have a 6-year lifetime, so they're still a legacy. Azure consumption, but be careful there, marketplace items can become an issue in a sense that if you have a marketplace item and you want to transfer the subscription, you might need to stop the marketplace item, do the transfer, and build up the marketplace item again. Mostly it's not that difficult to do it, but it might be a showstopper if you do a transfer from one party to the other. And Azure RIs also can be transferred. Two types of transfers between direct build partners. So for Microsoft, if you buy a license, your customer buys a license via you via us, and we to Microsoft. For Microsoft, we're the only party in view. So they say that transfers are always between direct build partners. So us and our competition, or the tier ones that are living, so direct build partners. So the Microsoft led, and I give you the process later on. It can be done midterm, meaning today or the day before the expiration, the transfer can be done. There is no set, you need to be at that number of days. You can do it straight on. Within SYNNEX, so your competitor who is now serving your customer is also working with us. You want to take over the licenses, that's done SYNNEX led transfer. We do it after the billing period. Why? It's just simple to be sure that the invoicing is correct. Yes. And there's also an asterisk that we show on the next slide why we do it. So if you do it with us, we always wait the billing cycle to be finished before we do the transfer between resellers. So how does the process work at Microsoft? So the new party, the new direct bill, creates a transfer request. So they have to be linked. That's a technical detail. The customer is linked to them. They can send the transfer request. They can define which product families. So I only want to have Azure consumption, or I only want to have the NCE licenses to be transferred. I don't want to have Azure because my partner doesn't do Azure whatsoever. And they can also in the transfer already declare which reseller is linked to that. That's sent to the other party. Yes. So we send it to our competition or tier ones. They will not see who is the partner that is linked to that request. So they cannot see, oh, it's you that actually does the request. They only see SYNNEX in the request. There's a 30-day acceptance window for the transfer. They can also select which family. So if we ask NCE and Azure and Azure RIs, and the other party says, no, it's only Azure consumption, they can say only Azure consumption or only NCE. And they can even say which subscriptions to be migrated or to be transferred. For instance, we have parties that only are very specialized in Dynamics. They say, okay, we're going to take over the licenses from that customer, but only the Dynamics licenses, not all the rest. So the sending party can just say only those licenses need to be transferred. The other ones remains as they are. Okay. 30 days acceptance window. The decision of who is managing the license is 100% between the customer and Microsoft. Yes. It's like when you change your phone, we go from Proximus to Telenet or VU or vice versa whatsoever. Your intermediate parties, they don't have a say in that. It's the same with the Microsoft transfers. That's a good thing, that's a bad thing. We can discuss on that forever. So the customer decides who will manage their licenses, which is a point of discussion we have sometimes when we do transfers. How does the invoicing run from Microsoft? So the all direct bill receives a prorated credit. We at SYNNEX, we pass it on to you. So if you do if you lose a customer, it's not a pleasant thing to have. but we will pass on the credit. Even if there is a payment done for a full year, Microsoft doesn't know that you might have a contract in place whatsoever. So the license gets stopped on our side, we get the credit and we pass on the credit to you. And a new direct bill will get a prorated invoice for that same deal. So basically, towards the customer should be a zero operation, but there might be price difference between parties in the midterm. So there might for the customer be an extra invoicing or credit in the end of the road. That's also one of the reasons why we do it after the billing cycle, because then we don't have this credit to be done given to one party and then credit a party invoice to another party. That's why we do it always after the billing period, to be sure that the invoicing is correct at the SYNNEX. Okay, questions, remark. I know this is a big chunk and a lot of information. Questions, remarks. Again, the Q&A or the chat window, whatever you prefer. Okay, I see someone typing. Yeah, question, how long are the GDAP valid? So the maximum time spent is 730 days, so 2 years, but you can define it less. So from 1 day till 730 days is what you can define. It's on the request moment. So the moment you do the request of the GDAP, that you can define a number of days. A customer on his tenant can at any moment also stop the GDAP. So they can say, I don't want this partner to have access anymore to my environment. So if you've put 730 days, after 5 days, the customer says, I don't want this, they can block the GDAP and you don't have access anymore. If you then want access, you need to do a new request. Okay. Again, if you want to have more information, I already mentioned it on one slide before, is the Brainshark environment where you have those small training videos that you can consume and see how things are working in Steam-on-Iron. They're updated every time there's a change on Steam-on-Iron. They're updated with a new module, with a new vendor. You will get those small videos, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, very short, very pointed. You click, 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 click. That's how you do things in Steam-on-Iron. So very useful. And as you will see, there are a couple of trainings already available, like also on GDAP. See IBM using their Sophos, Bondt, ConnectWise integration, Autotask integrations, and so on, so on, so on. All those are available in Brainshark. Okay. Upcoming events. Events, there are more, but obviously I highlight those which are managed from within our team. Next Thursday, exclusive Microsoft AE tasting track seminar. I think there the registrations are closed. Yeah, 23rd of September, that's gone, obviously. I forgot to remove that. But then the 9th of October, don't miss it. The Microsoft Cloud Inclusion Summit to 2025. It's an open event. So it's in person on site in Dilbeek. And I have some info on, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, so click it, you go to the registration page. So the program of that event is SYNNEX who will come. and talk about how data helped him in his career to go further, and how now most probably also it helps his son in what he's doing in bicycling. There is a Microsoft session on insights on security by Hans Hofkens. Melanie Verkamp van Element 61 will talk about fabric and AI. Stijn Kind from VUB Robotics will give an insight on human robotics and where they are today on their investigation, on their studies. From our team, we'll do a session on the incentives that are available and how to obtain them, because we saw that a lot of partners today, they might have, or they might, or even they do have from Microsoft some kickbacks, but they just don't claim them. So that's also very painful because then you lose money literally. And we end today with a walking dinner and network reception, all for free. So if you have time, I don't have the starting. Yeah, it starts at 2 o'clock. And this is basically the registration page of it. So where you can say here, description, you can see more in detail, even the detailed agenda, how it is done, where it is, and who will be the speakers out of this session. Sign up, and then you register for that very, very inspiring session. Okay, questions, remarks? If not, again, thank you for being here. If you have questions later on, hyperscaler.be@tdsynnex.com or marcus.be@tdsynnex.com. It's the same result, same mailbox that's behind that address. Don't hesitate. We're here. The full team is here to support you, to help you to run your business, to make it bigger and better the way you want it to grow. Maybe. Yeah, okay. I forgot to take that out. Next session, 27th of October, but most probably will be postponed due to the fact that it's a holiday week and I'm forced to take a holiday. So we're looking to reschedule it or the week after or the week before or another date to have it rescheduled. But there will be a session, but we don't know yet which date. Okay. So thank you all for being here. Again, don't hesitate. Contact us if you have questions, remarks, things are not clear. There are doubts whatsoever. We're here to help you. But for now, thank you very much for being here.